Well, there are several questions that come up with reference to sports. One is if the child has a pump, which is a small device that's attached to them, can they take the pump off during sporting activities? And is it necessary to take the pump off during sporting activities? Well, the answer is for contact sports like football, it's not unusual for the kids to take off the pump, and there are very specific strategies for doing that and for monitoring for appropriate safety. On the other hand, for the child that is, let's say, a cross-country runner, there's no contact involved, and it may be in their best interest to not take off their pump. It's not worth the time and effort to take it off. So that would be sort of a strategy that would depend on not just whether the child's participating in physical activity, but what's the nature of the physical activity. So pumps. When it comes to injections, when we know that families are about, our child is about to start a sport, particularly a sport that involves substantial aerobic activity, so that would be things like running or football, not so much baseball. We will often talk that, when kids start being a lot more physically active, they're much more at risk of having low blood sugar. So let's make some plans to be sure that your child is safe. And the way that we would assure safety is, number one, we would have a plan to have a glucose meter at the sporting event so that blood sugars could be checked appropriately. We would have a plan for how frequently we might check them. And we would also have some form of sugar available in case there was a problem that they didn't have to go to the the drink stand to get something. There was something immediately available for the child. And then in addition to that, we would talk a little bit about the fact that when kids become more physically active, it not only makes them more likely to have low blood sugars when they are doing the physical event, but often they might be at increased risk for 6 to 8 hours later. So if the sporting activities are happening in the after-school time, we would suggest that the families check blood sugars in the middle of the night, particularly at the start of the sports season, so they can be sure that the child is safe, and also that they sort of have a plan for changing doses or making a phone call if they're seeing an unusually high number of low blood sugars.